Good morning, friends. Welcome back to Astrology Today. I'm Mel Rose, and I am here to share your daily aspects. Today is Wednesday, March 2, 2022. The sun and the new moon in Pisces. This is the amplification right here of our creative power in all parts of our lives. It's a time where we express our hopes, our faith, and our intentions for the future. We're calling in abundance at this really fertile time, which is ideal for making plans and setting goals, which is what we do during the new moon. And Jupiter and Neptune being in the sign of Pisces right now too brings us a boost in the benefits of expanded inspiration and connection, again, in the outer life and in the inner life. And of course, like I said, with the new moon, we set intentions. It's more than that, though, friends. What we do is we have cleared our plate, right? We have created a sort of tabula rasa, a clean slate from which to build again. So when we have that clean slate, we appreciate it. We clean it up. We tidy it up. We sort of consecrate it for our ongoing intentions, and our ongoing creative capacity are very much emphasized and expanded creative capacity at this time. And then we begin to dream and imagine and set intentions, especially with Pisces, Jupiter and Neptune in Pisces. The dreaming and the imagining and the sort of playful vibration that comes with the creation of our intentions and goals is very much emphasized at this time. And I'm going to get right into the aspects, but first I want to point out that there's a legend on the side of the page. All of the symbols that are on the page are in the legend. So if you feel a little bit lost and you're looking at a certain symbol or set of symbols that you don't understand, the legend is right here. It can give you some clue. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and discuss it all anyway. Excuse me, friends. So the page is otherwise divided into two columns, one for each of our luminaries. The moon sheds light on the inner life. This is who we are on the inside, what it feels like to be in our body, our heart, and our mind, all those things we think, feel, know, and intuit, as well as who we are in our home life, who we are at home and with the people and the pets and the plants and the things that are there with us. And the aspects that the moon makes really are rather brief. They last about 2 hours because the moon moves pretty quickly from our perspective. And the aspects have more to do with what's going on the inside, in the private aspect of our lives, those things we think, feel, know, and intuit. The sun sheds light on the outer life. And this has more to do with who we are out in the world, our work, social, and civic lives. And I address the sun and the other planets' aspects on the side because they have more to do with who we are in the outer life, and they generally take longer than these inner life lunar aspects. And we begin on the sun side of the page today. And I'm going to go ahead and start with the ongoing stuff first. Venus is in conjunct with Mars, at least through spring equinox, the 20th of March. And this is very much, these two are still in Capricorn together. It's very much worker mode. It's looking at what we have to work on within our partnerships. Venus and Mars are sort of characterized as the divine couple. One is receptive and one is assertive. One has pulling power and the other has drive. So these two parts of our lives are very much being emphasized and amplified at this time. And, we all have a little Venus and a little Mars. Everybody has Venus and Mars in their chart. It can be helpful to look at your personal chart and see where Venus and Mars are and read a little bit about what that means in terms of your expression of your receptive qualities and your assertive qualities. But it also points to the partnerships that we're in, the ones that we've chosen, after that long Venus retrograde when we were like, or am I getting from these partnerships what I need? Do I have to negotiate something better? Now we know who we're standing by. And that's not necessarily just our romantic life. It does relate to our romantic life, but especially with Capricorn and Saturn involved here, it relates to our work life, our social and civic life as well. But definitely we're looking at the work we have to do. So at this time, what, new moon with the creative Pisces, Jupiter, and Neptune facets weighing in on our lives, what kind of plans are we making within our partnerships? Focus on the prosperous opportunities that are coming your way, because we've got this Jupiter sextile Uranus that we'll talk about in a second. And have faith in your partner to be on board with you, okay? If you've had the conversation about what's important and what the goals are, and your partner and you are in agreement, then, now's the time to give your trust, right? Sometimes there are a lot of us in the world who are a little bit on the controlling side in our lives. We have our reasons. It's not necessarily a bad thing, but you have to give other people opportunities to participate. You have to give your partners opportunities to show that they're sort of in the creation of that partnership with you. And that's what came up for me on reflection this time. Jupiter in a sextile position with Uranus also through the 20th at least of March, which will be spring equinox. Jupiter is our planet for expansive good fortune, increasing possibilities, experiences that expand our concept of what is possible for us in our lives. And Jupiter is here in this relationship with Uranus, which is the planet that awakens us to shifts and changes we can make to have things go better for us, however that means. And this sextile relationship here is a really positive vibration. It is cooperative. They're working together. Your sense of good fortune and personal expansion and your sense of being able to make shifts are coordinating together. And so really great possibilities are coming out of that. Expanded possibilities for positive change. And especially because it's just travel. It's doing the same thing at the same time as Venus. It's doing its thing at the same time as Venus conjunct Mars. I really think it relates back to, in our partnerships, we're seeing expanded opportunities for positive change. And that's why those partnership goals are so important, and why it's important, under Capricorn to be a little ambitious about what you're trying to create. And then last night was Fat Tuesday. I forgot to mention that yesterday. But yesterday was Fat Tuesday, and last night this came in sometime around 9 o'clock in the evening. Well, it's a 24-hour aspect, so I thought I'd bring it back up. This is the time to let your freak flag fly, okay? This is the outer life cooperating with our capacity to change things up and do things a little bit differently. And sometimes that just means, putting on that weird outfit that you didn't think you could wear out of the house, and just, cutting loose a little bit, letting yourself be as strange as you want to be for the people out there in the work, social, and civic space. Within reason, we don't show up to work naked unless we're naked workers, right? Okay. Then today, on the sun side of the page at 10:33 a.m., Mercury makes a conjunct with Saturn. Look at all these conjuncts, guys. Conjunct, conjunct, conjunct. And do I need to go? I'm going to go back through and say Saturn, 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 Saturn. Saturn is, still very dominating on this board. Pluto is also in Capricorn, which is Saturn energy. So conjuncts and Saturn. So this is a real amplification and intensification in different parts of our life. But in this one, really, it's a conversation, and our thoughts and plans are being pointed in terms of our structural stability, having firm foundations upon which to stand, those structures that we rely on for support and validation, as well as our responsibility, our duty to reinforce them and maintain them. And this aspect brought up some advice to bring a critical but positive eye toward our important tasks and routines, excuse me. So definitely, be paying attention to those standard things that you do all the time, those important tasks, those things that's important for you to take care of all the time, your routines. Pay attention to how those things support you, those routines and those programs that you're in, that those things, programs you do for yourself. Just pay attention, make sure that they're really being supportive of you. Or is it something you're engaging in that actually pulls support from underneath you? It's an important thing to pay attention to, and especially with this conjunct energy. Again, your thoughts, plans, and communications amplified, your sense of structural stability amplified. So we really want to be thinking about how our foundations feel to us and having the conversation as well. And also today on the sun side of the page at 11:35 a.m., the sun goes conjunct with the moon. So this is the aspect that indicates the culmination of the new moon. Before this point in time, the moon was waning. It was getting smaller, and the energy was of reducing, letting go, pushing things out of our lives. After this point, the moon becomes waxing again, and so the energy becomes one of taking things on, of adding things, of growing possibilities, of setting intentions and doing work to pull things toward us. So symbolically, this says inner and outer life are sort of joined together and amplified. When the moon is new, the sun is behind it. The moon is between us and the sun. And this is sometimes how we get eclipses as well, but not at this time. We won't have an eclipse this time, but the sun is behind the moon, so the moon it looks dark if you could see it. If you're in the northern hemisphere, you won't even see it in the sky during the evening. So, use this opportunity where your inner and outer life are joined and amplified, again, conjunct, so that we can, pay attention to the amplified aspects of our outer lives and our inner lives and see how well they can work together. Then on the moon side of the page today at 10:42 this morning, the moon makes a sextile with Uranus. And I wrote down caring for ourselves and others in practical ways, but I really think that's more moon sextile Saturn energy. What I'm going to say about it is that we can make practical changes and shifts in our private lives, in our, changes of heart, changes of mind, changes around the home, as long as we communicate with those people we're at home with. And the sextile energy there makes it a really positive thing to make these changes, and they're probably there to help us function better overall. And then at 3:42 in the afternoon, the moon makes a conjunct, amplification of energies, with Jupiter. So when the moon is in aspect with Jupiter, we tend to have those contented, good moods anyway, where we can enjoy the company of friends and loved ones. The conjunct here, again, amplifies the sense of the personal life and the expansive good fortune. When the moon's in aspect with Jupiter, we really feel ourselves. We feel the growth that we have undergone and the changes that we're going through, and we feel really positive about it, especially especially anytime Jupiter is in aspect with the moon. But then conjunct sort of amplifies those good feelings and amplifies your sense of your internal life. So that's really positive to me. Coming up tomorrow, Mars is going to make a conjunct with Pluto, and so is Venus. So Mars and Venus are right next to each other in the sky right now. You could go out in the morning and catch Venus. You probably find Mars nearby. Venus is a very bright star that does not flicker very much. And Mars is a little orange star. So there's a challenge for you. Find out when Venus is out in the morning for you and get up and go check it out. It's a beautiful thing to see. And then what's coming up tomorrow, you won't probably be able to see Pluto in the sky, but Pluto's hanging out right there in Capricorn, right next to where Mars and Venus are. And so we're going to have this conjunct energy with Pluto. And you thought you were going through changes, you thought you were bringing on new opportunities, working on new goals. Pluto is that transformative energy. It brings about deep and total changes. It brings about evolutions, and especially in terms of our partnerships. So if there's a breakthrough coming for your partnership, I would predict that it happens sometime, in the next week. And then on Saturday, the sun makes a conjunct with Jupiter, so further amplifying Jupiter's expansive good fortune effect, where we are able to imagine bigger things for ourselves and sign up sort of for bigger experiences than we've had. But then Jupiter is also going to be at its aphelion at that time, so that's its farthest point from the sun. And the best I can tell, that really says that there might be a delayed effect. The work that we're doing with faith that these expanded opportunities for positive change are working for us. We have to continue to have faith, because Jupiter is at its aphelion, so its effects just take longer to get to us. Then also on Saturday, Mars and Venus again are going to go into Aquarius together at the same time, practically right on top of their conjunct with Pluto, but basically Pluto is going to stay in Capricorn, and Venus and Mars are going to move into Aquarius. So that's still a very Saturn energy. Saturn is sitting in Aquarius right now, transiting Aquarius. So we're still going to be looking at those foundational support, but it's more of a pulled back view, where we also pay attention to who we are in relationship to our community and what we can do to help everybody have what they need. And also on Saturday, Venus conjunct Mars is coming up. And the reason we're highlighting this, because we've already been in Venus conjunct Mars for a while, is that they've been very close to each other, but they have not been exactly conjunct yet. And now on Saturday, they're going to be exactly conjunct again in Aquarius, not in Capricorn. So it's a little shift in vibration as we feel the intensification of these already amplified effects. And then next Thursday, we will have that first quarter moon in Gemini, and that will be the time when we go from setting intentions and making plans to actually acting out on our plans, doing the footwork and making the emails and the phone calls we need to make to get those goals, closer to their achievement point. Okay, and I think that's all I have to say about the aspects for today. If you're still here with me, 18 minutes in. Wow, I've been talking a lot. Please go ahead and like my video, subscribe to my channels, click that notification bell. I post every day. I try to get my posts up by 7 p.m. the day before. So I post every day, and if you want to know what's going on in the astrology atmosphere, what these ambient energies are that affect our inner and outer lives, it's a great idea just to tune in every day, have your coffee and listen to the aspects. And also, if you have any questions, comments, if something comes up for you while you're looking at this, please feel free to put a comment in the section below the video. I look for your comments, and I would be happy to see them and respond. All right, at this point, I'm going to go ahead and discuss some tarot. First, I want to discuss with you the tarot card on the side of the page, and then I'll throw a card for just today. The tarot card on the side of the page is the Nine of Cups right now, and the Nine of Cups represents the sun's the second 10 days of the sun's transit through Pisces. So it's a 30-day transit. We divide it into 3. There are 3 cards during the sun's transit through Pisces. This is the second one. And the Nine of Cups, first, to me, it helps to put it in context. We had the Eight of Cups before, where we sort of had to abandon something we'd put a lot of ourselves into. We had to walk away and have that sort of internal strength to understand that there was more to be had. And the Nine of Cups says, yeah, we found it. We got more. We've got a satisfactory vessel into which we can pour our inspired and creative capacities. We've got a satisfactory vessel into which we can pour our emotions. And so feeling that way, not feeling stressed about whether or not it's enough for us, or whether we're being too much for whatever is available to us. This brings about a certain amount of emotional satisfaction. And I love this picture because, this guy really just speaks emotional satisfaction. He's got his cups all lined up in a row on a banquet table or something, and he's sitting underneath them. So that says his emotions are on his mind, and it's balanced and it feels good. He's not struggling at all. He's sitting comfortably. He's got that nice hat. So, this tells me you've got a little time to enjoy the luxury of emotional satisfaction. And, we don't get that all the time, but definitely, find it where you can. Find the part of your life in which you do feel emotionally satisfied and luxuriate in that a little bit. Enjoy it. Enjoy feeling, somewhat accomplished, or as though you don't have to struggle with something that you would have struggled with in the past, especially emotionally or creatively. And with that said, I'm going to go ahead and mix these cards up some more while I remind myself and the cards that the sun is in Pisces, and so is Jupiter and Neptune, which are Pisces co-ruling planets. So that makes for a very strong, creative, expanded, inspired Pisces vibe. And then the moon is brand new today, clean slate, time to consecrate, to, clean it off and start to set our intentions again. For our inner and outer life, but especially for our personal goals. And some short-term goals would be good. In a couple of weeks, we've got a full moon, so we can, be preparing to have some sort of culmination or partial culmination of a goal in a couple of weeks, and that would be a great way to celebrate. Also, we have Mercury conjunct Saturn, so let's talk about how we're feeling about our structural foundations. Let's bring that critical idea, that critical eye to our tasks, our important tasks and routines. Sun conjunct Moon, so our inner and outer life forces are sort of conjoined and amplified at this time. We're pretty powerful, and we know what we want, and we know how to get it. And that's written here in Venus conjunct Mars too. We know what we'd like to receive, and we know how to pursue it, is what that says. And it's very much an amplified effect, so that we're feeling it strongly. And Jupiter sextile Neptune and the Sun sextile Neptune, you've got positive opportunities coming in. You've got, positive change coming your way. And you can really be yourself at this time and try to express yourself creatively in whatever way that you would like to share your personal beauty with the world. And then we've got a couple of really positive aspects on the lunar side too that say, you can make some changes and it'll probably work for you. You're probably feeling good and you can enjoy the company of your friends and loved ones. You've got that expansive, generous feeling. So I think that's all really beautiful. And with all of that said, I'm going to turn this card. Oh my goodness, the Eight of Cups. Guys, seriously, there are over 70 cards in this deck, but I seem to be getting the same ones over and over again. Eight of Cups, okay, is the energy that we just discussed because it precedes the Nine of Cups, and there is that sense of sort of disappointment and, sort of the pain of having to detach yourself from some emotional or creative investment that you made, sort of like not really necessarily wanting to walk away from something you created, but definitely feeling like it's time to do that. And taken in context with the Nine of Cups, it tells me that some of us may still be sort of clinging to something that is not emotionally satisfying, clinging to something that is not an expression of our best, most expanded, inspired creativity, okay? So the Eight of Cups was not your masterpiece. And I don't even know if the Nine of Cups is the masterpiece, but it definitely feels more like it, okay, as far as the creative and artistic sense goes. And then emotionally, the Eight of Cups really just says, I thought this was going to be enough, but it turned out not to be enough. And especially with that expanded flow again of inspiration and creativity, perhaps the Eight of Cups was going to be enough, or we thought it was going to be enough, but it just turned out not to be enough, whatever that emotional investment was that we made. And so, we have to occasionally have that inner strength to turn our back on something and say, you know what, I realize I have a heart full of love and inspiration and creativity, a bottomless resource of those things. So I can leave this creation of mine behind, however sad it makes me, and I can move forward and find something more emotionally satisfying. I believe that's all that I have to say about it today. I appreciate you all so much for being here today. My name is Mel Rose, and I will see you all back here tomorrow for more Astrology Today.